Libra, the cards just put something on the table that I was not expecting. And I want to be honest with you about that from the very first breath of this reading. Because what came through when I laid out this spread for you was not the gentle, flowing energy that sometimes characterizes love readings. It was something more urgent than that. Something with a particular quality of motion to it, of someone moving, of someone who has been still for too long, suddenly finding themselves unable to remain still any longer. Someone is looking for you, Libra. Not casually, not in the passing whatever happened to way that we occasionally wonder about people from our past without any real intention behind the wondering, but with purpose, with the specific directed energy of someone who has made a decision, who has sat with something long enough and finally arrived at the point where sitting with it is no longer acceptable, where the distance between where they are and where you are has become something they are actively, intentionally moving to close. The cards warned me about this person before I was even fully settled into the reading. And when I say warned, I want to be clear about what I mean. Not warned as in danger. Not warned as in something to be afraid of or guarded against, but warned in the way that a strong current of energy announces itself before you have consciously registered it, in the way that something significant makes its presence felt before you have had a chance to name what you are feeling. This person's energy is strong. Their focus on you is strong. And what is driving that focus is something that has been building in them quietly, privately, without your knowledge, for longer than you might imagine. Now, before we go further into who this person is and what is moving them towards you, I want to sit with you for a moment in where you actually are right now, because I think that context matters enormously for how you receive everything else in this reading. You have been in a quieter season, haven't you, Libra? Not necessarily a bad one, not a season of crisis or dramatic upheaval, but a quieter one. One where the external landscape of your love life has been somewhat still while a great deal has been happening internally. Where you have been doing the less visible work of understanding yourself more deeply, of getting clearer about what you actually want, rather than what you have been willing to accept. Of slowly and sometimes painfully revising the stories you have been telling yourself about love and what it is supposed to feel like and what you deserve from it. That internal work is real, and it has been significant, more significant than you have perhaps given yourself credit for, because it has happened largely without witness and therefore without the external validation that might have helped you recognize how much ground you have actually covered. But here is what the cards are showing me about that quiet internal season. It has not gone unnoticed by the universe, and it has not gone unnoticed by this person. Because here is something true about energy that I want you to sit with. When you change internally, when you do genuine work on yourself and arrive at new levels of clarity and self-possession and honest self-knowledge, that change radiates outward. It affects your frequency. It changes what you emit into the world around you, even when you are not consciously doing anything differently on the outside. And people who are tuned into your frequency, people for whom you have always carried a particular significance, feel that change, sometimes without being able to articulate what they are feeling, sometimes as a sudden and inexplicable pull in your direction that seems to arrive from nowhere but is actually a response to the shift in your energy. This person felt it. Your internal growth, your arriving at a new level of yourself, sent something outward that reached them. And what it reached in them was something that had been waiting for exactly that signal. Libra, is there someone who has been on the edges of your awareness lately? Not necessarily someone you have been in active contact with, but someone whose name or image has surfaced in your thoughts with a frequency that surprised you. Someone who belongs to an earlier chapter of your story, but who has not quite settled into the past the way you might have expected them to. Leave a comment and tell me, because what the cards are showing is specific, and I want to know if your intuition is already pointing in the same direction. Now, let me speak about this person more specifically, about who they are energetically and what has been happening in their inner world that is now driving them toward you. The first thing I want to name is the depth of what they carry for you, because obsession is a word that gets used loosely, and I want to be precise about what I mean when I apply it to this person's energy. I am not describing something unhealthy or intrusive or without regard for your autonomy. What I am describing is a quality of focus, of preoccupation, of the particular state that arrives when someone occupies your thoughts with a consistency and an intensity that goes beyond ordinary caring or ordinary interest. This person thinks about you in a way that they cannot fully explain and have not been able to redirect. They have tried, perhaps, have gone through periods of deliberately focusing elsewhere, of investing their attention in other things and other people, of telling themselves that what they feel has had its time and should by now have faded into something more manageable. It has not faded. If anything, it has clarified, stripped of the noise of active contact and daily interaction. What they feel has revealed itself to be something more essential than they initially understood. Something that does not diminish with time and distance, but that simply waits, patient and persistent and entirely unwilling to be rationalized away. And recently, something shifted in how they are relating to that feeling. Something moved from the passive experience of carrying it to the active decision to do something about it. I feel a specific moment of decision in their energy, not a gradual drift toward action, but an actual moment. Perhaps something they saw or heard or experienced that brought you to mind with particular vividness. Perhaps simply the accumulation of time reaching a tipping point where continuing to do nothing became less acceptable than the vulnerability of doing something. Perhaps an internal conversation that finally reached its conclusion after circling the same questions for too long. Whatever the catalyst, the decision has been made. They are going to look for you, are perhaps already in the process of it. Reaching back through whatever channels connect your worlds, looking for the opening, the update, the piece of current information about where you are and how you are that would allow them to make contact in a way that feels natural rather than like an intrusion from out of nowhere. They are being careful about it, thoughtful. This is not impulsive reaching out born of a momentary feeling. This is considered movement from someone who has been sitting with the decision long enough to know that it is genuine. Now, I want to speak about something that I think is important to name clearly and honestly, because I believe in giving readings that are genuinely useful rather than simply emotionally satisfying. The fact that someone is searching for you, that someone carries this depth of focus on you, is meaningful information. But it is not the only information that matters here. And I want to make sure that what I am sharing serves your actual well-being rather than simply activating the part of you that finds the idea of being powerfully wanted by someone appealing. So let me ask you something, Libra. and I want you to sit with this honestly rather than answering immediately. When you consider this person, whoever they are for you, whatever history exists between you and them, what do you actually feel? Not what you think you should feel, not what would be the most romantic or the most satisfying narrative, but what you genuinely feel when you allow yourself to be honest about this connection and what it has been and what you would want it to become. Because being searched for by someone is only as meaningful as the answer to that question. Someone's intensity of feeling, however real and however significant, does not by itself create the right conditions for something that would actually be good for you. What creates those conditions is a combination of their genuine feeling and your genuine desire, and the honest assessment of whether what exists between you is something that has the foundation to become what you both need. I raise this not to dampen the energy of what I am sharing, but because I think you are someone who deserves to receive this information with the full complexity it carries rather than the simplified version that would feel good in the moment but might not serve you in the long term. You are a Libra. You understand nuance. You are capable of holding the beauty of being searched for and the wisdom of discernment simultaneously, and I trust you to do exactly that with what this reading is bringing. Have you been feeling this dual awareness, Libra, the pull of something approaching and the simultaneous need to stay honest with yourself about what you actually want? Tell me in the comments, because this is one of the most important tensions in this reading and I want to honor it fully. Let me speak now about what the cards are advising, because a reading that only describes what is happening without offering guidance about how to navigate it is an incomplete reading. The first thing the cards are showing very clearly is that your energy in this period is magnetic in a specific way. The internal work you have been doing has created a quality of groundedness and self-possession in you that is genuinely attractive to people who have the capacity to recognize depth. And the person who is searching for you is being drawn by exactly that quality, by the sense that you have arrived somewhere new in yourself, by the frequency of someone who knows who they are and what they are worth. The guidance here is to stay in that energy, to not abandon the groundedness of where you have arrived in yourself in response to the excitement of being sought, to receive whatever contact comes from a centered place rather than from the activated, destabilized place that being powerfully wanted by someone can sometimes create. You are the prize here, Libra, not in a diminishing or objectifying sense, but in the sense that what you have become through your own growth and your own choices is genuinely valuable and genuinely worth someone making the effort to find their way back to. Stay connected to that truth when the contact comes, rather than immediately orienting yourself around what they need and what they are feeling in the way that Libra sometimes does, at the cost of staying connected to their own center. The second thing the cards are showing is the importance of clarity in how you respond. Not clarity that you have to manufacture in advance of knowing who is reaching out or what they are saying, but a commitment to honest clarity as the guiding principle of how you engage with what comes. No performances, no management of impressions, no playing smaller than you are to make someone else more comfortable or playing larger to create a particular effect. Just honest, grounded, this is who I am and this is where I am. Clarity that allows whatever unfolds to be built on something real rather than on the mutual performance of feelings that may or may not accurately reflect what is actually present. Real things can withstand that honesty. And if what this person is bringing cannot withstand it, then that is important information about whether what they are searching for is genuinely you or a version of you that exists primarily in their imagination. And the third thing the cards are showing is an invitation to curiosity rather than conclusion. To approach what is coming, whoever makes contact and whatever they bring, with genuine openness to what is actually there, rather than with a predetermined story about what it means and where it is going. You do not have to know in advance how this ends. You do not have to have your response to the contact fully formed before the contact has arrived. You are allowed to simply be present for what unfolds, to gather real information, to let the actual interaction reveal what is true, rather than deciding in advance what the truth must be. That openness, held from a grounded center, is actually your greatest asset in navigating what is approaching. Now let me speak briefly about the timing of this, not in specific terms, because I do not work with specific timelines and would not serve you well by pretending to. But in terms of the energetic quality of what I feel around when this movement happens, the energy does not feel distant. It does not have the quality of something that is still many stages of development away from arriving in your actual experience. It feels close in the way that things feel close when they are already in motion rather than still being contemplated, already moving rather than still deciding whether to move. Whatever search is underway, whatever reaching back through channels of connection is happening, it is not in its early stages. It is further along than that. And the arrival of something in your awareness, some contact or some information or some indication that this person is actively thinking about you and moving toward you, feels like something that belongs to the near rather than the distant future. Stay present, Libra. Stay available to what is approaching, not in a waiting, suspended, nothing else matters way, but in the grounded, continuing to live your full life way of someone who knows something significant may be coming and has made peace with not knowing exactly when or how. As we come to the close of this reading, I want to leave you with something that I feel is the essential truth of everything the cards brought through today. You are someone worth searching for, worth the effort of finding, worth the vulnerability of reaching back across time and distance and whatever complicated history might exist to try again, to say what was not said, to offer what was not offered, to be more honest than was previously managed. That is what this person's searching represents. Not just their feelings about you, though those feelings are real and significant, but a recognition of your worth that has only deepened with time and distance. A confirmation that what you carry, who you are, the specific and irreplaceable quality of your presence is not something that fades in the memory of people who have genuinely encountered it. You leave a mark, Libra, a real one, the kind that time does not erase but sometimes clarifies, the kind that someone carries with them and discovers, upon honest examination, to be more significant than they initially understood. And the person who is discovering that right now, who is finding their way toward you with a focus and an intention that the cards could not help but flag immediately, they are proof of that truth in a form you are about to encounter directly. Receive it with open hands and a grounded heart. Stay honest. Stay centered. Stay exactly who you have been becoming through the quiet internal work of this season, because that is who is being searched for. And you, dear Libra, are right on time to be found.